Welcome back, amazing, incredible, and very diligent Hebrew student, to the How to Learn Hebrew the Fast and Easy Way. You are on the fast track, lesson number 5, and with award-winning art right on the screen with every new lesson. But we're not going to tell anybody. We have a lot of stuff to learn today. First, we're going to review. We're also going to cover the vowels that we did, and we're going to review a couple of rules for the Shiva, which we introduced last week, and we're also going to introduce a new vowel. So we have a lot of stuff to do. First, get your pen and paper out, and I want you to write down for me a bet with a segol underneath. A bet with a segol underneath. Give you a few moments. Bet. Segol underneath. And now write for me a gimel with a segol underneath, if you know the gimel, and you just compare it to the segol. Easy peasy. Gimel with a segol. And now write for me a daled. Do you notice? This is a word, and it is, sound it out for me if you can. Beged. Beged. This is bet, gimel, daled, and it has the same vowels. How do you like that? Okay, perfect. Let us do the next word. Write for me a zayin with a segol underneath. Zayin. Zayin. Segol underneath. And now write for me a simple hey. Hey. And this word sounds out to be ze. Ze. That. That's what it means. Now, write for me a bet with a patach underneath. A bet. Patach underneath. Yud. Write for me a yud. Now a holem. Ooh, I know that one. Holem. And now a mem sofit. Mem sofit. Okay, this is also a word, and this word is ba-yom. Ba-yom. Let us move on to the next word. Gimel with a patach underneath. Gimel with a patach underneath. Gimel. Patach. And now daled, the next letter up. Daled. Pretty easy, right? Sound this out for me. This is Gad. Gad, not God. Gad, which is one of the tribes. And it is also a name. Gad, G-A-D. Okay, next word. Write for me a kaf. Kaf. Simple kaf. Kaf. Dotted letter. And now write for me a holem. Next to that, holem. Holem. And now write for me a samech. Samech. No vowel underneath that one, just a samech. That's a samech. Remember the samechs are rounded. This is rounded, and this one over here is square. And the difference is, this is a mem sofit, and this is a samech. Okay? And this word sounds out to be kos. Kos. Now write for me a mem with a segol underneath. I'm going to clear my board so I can have more space. A mem with a segol underneath. Now a lamed with a segol underneath. Lamed, segol. And now write for me a chaf sofit. Chaf sofit. Okay? And this spells out the word melech. Melech. Melech means king. King. Okay, let's look at another one. Write for me an ayin with a tzere underneath. An ayin with a tzere underneath. Ayin, tzere. Now a yud next to that. Yud, smallest letter. Nun with a kamatz underneath. Nun with a kamatz. Write that down next to the yud. On the left side, obviously. Nun with a kamatz underneath. And now a yud next to that. And this sounds out to be ainai, ainai, ainai. My eyes. That's what it says, my eyes. Let's come to this one. A yud with a kamatz underneath. A yud with a kamatz. Write that down for me, please. Yud, kamatz underneath. And now a simple dalid next to it. Okay, what does that say? Yad. Yad. And yad means hand. Hand. Okay, let's do one more. Het with a patach underneath. Het with a patach underneath. This is a very significant word. And now next to that, a yud. Okay? And that says hi. Hi. Now, people may have seen this chai, which again, this is not a ch. It's a het. I'm sorry. It's a het, and its equivalent, its numerical equivalence, is that of 18. And the reason is 18 is because the yud is 10, and the het is 8. So you add them together, they're 18. And it seems to be a very significant number in Judaism because if you take the numerical value and you substitute each number by its letter counterpart, then you're going to have the word chai, which is life. So people actually donate in Judaism in multiples of 18. They say 1 chai or 10 times chai or 3 chais. And when you say chai, 3 chais, it's 3 times 18. Okay? All right. Cool fact. Fun fact. Let's move over to the Shiva. Okay? Now, those were our vowels. That is a good review with the vowels without actually having to review the vowels separately, but with the words together. And we'll come back to it. We spoke the last session about the Shiva. And by the way, I use the word session and lesson interchangeably, so don't let that throw you off. You've probably figured that out by now. Anyway, so the Shiva is the vowel that is a 2 dots underneath the letter. X over here is representing a letter, or any combination of letters. And here you have the Shiva right underneath. And we talked about the Shiva being one having a short e sound, not e but e, and then also being silent. So it has two functions. It either has a short e it's silent. We're going to learn 2 rules today, 2 out of 5, in which in reality 2 of those 5 rules can be merged into one, which is what we're going to do to make it easier. So out of those 5 rules, some of them have to do with when it's short and some of them have to do when it is silent. Okay? Let's do that. So we're learning the Shiva. Okay, so as far as when the Shiva is sounded out as a short e sound, let's review 2 rules. The first one is when the Shiva appears in the beginning of a word. Here again, X's represent letters. When the Shiva appears in the beginning of the word, the length of the word doesn't matter. What matters is that the Shiva is at the beginning of the word. Then it is sounded out as a short e sound. Now, let's look at some of the words that you will be able to identify it and read, which include Shiva. Okay? This one first. Try to identify the letters that I'm writing down. Okay, over here in this case, see if you can sound it out before I do. Le, yom. Le, yom. Now, Ashkenazic Jews will sometimes treat this as a silent part of the word, as a silent vowel when it's at the beginning. Sephardic Israeli pronunciation is more so leaning toward the short e sound. Okay, just a quick note on that one there. Let's look at this word. Try to identify the letters as I write them. Okay. Over here in this word, le-ma'an, le-ma'an, le-ma'an. And let's do one more, okay? Again, try to identify what am I writing. So the actual word is supposed to have another letter, but because we don't know it yet, I'm substituting it for the same sounding letter. Okay, so in this case, we have a lot of e going on, a lot of e sounds, e long and short. In the beginning, this would be what? It's a short e sound, so it's ve, and then this is a longer e sound together with the ayin, this next letter. So ve, and then here it would be again longer ve'aimek, ve'aimek, ve'aimek. That's the way that you would sound that out. Okay? Yay. Okay, so that's a rule. You want to maybe write that down in your notebook because we haven't been writing too many words except at the beginning with a review. But the first rule is that when the Shiva appears in the beginning, it is said as a short e sound. Okay? It is pronounced or it is sounded out. Okay, that's your rule number one. Okay. Let's look at another rule in which the Shiva is sounded out as a short e sound. And that Shiva would be when there is an indicator. When there's an indicator. Okay, I'm going to tell you what those indicators are in just a few moments. X represents the letters. The indicators are going to be a line under the letter that precedes the Shiva, or a dot in the middle of the letter. Now we have 3 dotted letters that we have learned. We have one more to learn. And those letters, as a review, are bet, kaf, and pei. Those are our 3 dotted letters, but there are other letters in which dots will appear. Like, for example, the mem, you'll have a dot. Sometimes in the lamed, you'll have a dot. In these cases where you don't have a change in the letter itself from short to long, this dot indicates to you that the Shiva is to be said. Okay, we're going to see examples of that, so I don't want it just to be theoretical. But if you're going to write a second rule, you're going to write, if there's an indicator, such as a line before the Shiva, or a dot in the letter that contains the Shiva, and so the Shiva is said. The Shiva is said. So again, if you have a line that precedes the Shiva, a line that precedes the Shiva, or a dot in the middle of the letter, then your Shiva is sounded out as a short e sound. Okay, enough talk. Let's get to work. Here, let's look at some examples. You should be identifying the letters as I write them down. Let's try to sound this out. So in this case, here you have an indicator. Okay, your indicator is your dot, right? And this is going to indicate to you that this is said as an short e sound. Okay, so this word is, hope you got it right, ha-le-chu. Ha-le-chu. Remember that this letter over here is guttural. Ha-le-chu. Okay, let's go to another word. Oh, this is a long word. Why did I pick such a long word? Okay, let's look at this word. This has both the rules that we just learned. Okay, both the rules. This has at the beginning, and if it's at the beginning, it is what? Based upon what we're doing right now, it is sounded out, correct? So this, now this over here, this letter that you see here may look like a mem sofit. And I did draw it a little bit square, not on purpose, but it's not at the end. So if it's not at the end, it must be what? A samech. It is a samech. So yes, so, this is a o, ve. Here, let's sound it out. Yeso vevenu. Yeso vevenu. This is your indicator right here. Here's your indicator. Okay? This is the beginning of the word, so it sounded out. Here's your indicator, meaning that this over here, this shiva, is sounded out as well as a short e sound. Okay? Great example. Let's look at another one. You should be identifying the letters as I write them. What letters am I writing down? What vowels am I writing down? Here's an indicator. Our indicators are a dot or a line that precedes the shiva. Where is the shiva? The only shiva on the screen are the two dots that are under the lamed. So this is malea. Now, let me add one more thing here. This line adds also as an indicator to where your accent is on the word. Malea. Malea. That's where you're going to stretch out part of the word. Okay? Malea. And this has a short a sound. Okay? Those are your indicators. Those are your indicators. Okay, so a quick review. When you have the shiva at the beginning of the word, it's going to sound out as an e. When you have the shiva with an indicator, and by the way, these do not come together. As we saw in the previous words, these indicators do not come together. So your indicator is this or this, and sometimes they will come together, and it's still going to be e. It's still going to be e. This is going to be e. Fantastic review, all right? We're going to do one more vowel, and we're going to do some words that are associated with this vowel in which you will be able to read. Okay, and this next vowel that we're going to do is called the חירק. 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 And it has the sound of E. I guess you can say it's like double E. E. Not E. 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 חירק. חירק. Just like this letter of its name. חירק. Okay? And the way that it looks is like this. Again, X representing letters. That's the חירק. It's just a dot under the letter. It's one dot under the letter. And it's got an E sound. E. E. Like a short E sound. Not an E, but an E. Let's just write this down. חירק. And then sound it out. חירק. E sound. חירק. And again, X represents a letter. You already know that. But just in case somebody's like, why does he keep writing X's? חירק. Just a few. חירק. חירק. Take another few moments to write חירק. And then we're gonna do a few words. חירק. חירק. E sound. E. E. Short E sound. And write your last one. And it's gone. Let's do some words, okay? Now we're going to notice that a lot of these words have the חירק at the beginning of the word. And we will also incorporate the rule that we learned today. Let's look at this word. Now, knowing this new vowel, it is yi, yi, and knowing your indicator, that your indicator is a dot in the middle of the letter that tells you that the Sheva is said yidemu, yidemu, yidemu. Okay? There's a Sheva rule and a חירק. That's your new vowel. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This is pronounced piv, piv. Remember that pei has a P sound, piv. Okay, so piv. Now, you notice over here that the yud does not have a vowel underneath. And in many, many cases, there are certain letters that we do not sound out the letter simply because it has no vowel underneath. Now, on rare occasions, when your yud does not have a vowel underneath, we will sound it out. Like, for example, chai. We talked about chai earlier on today. Chai. That was our word. In this case, it's not ha. It's hai. But in most cases, I'm going to box that in just to let you know that it's different. This has no sound. So even if I remove the yud, it's still going to be piv. And there are other letters that are silent as well if they don't have vowels underneath, and that is the aleph, the yud, the hey. Okay, either one of those do not get sounded out if there's no vowel underneath. For the most part, there's not an always rule because you know what happens. Okay, let's look at another word. Let's look at a word that's a little bit more challenging. Identifying the letters as I write them down. Okay, now this is going to show us the חירק twice and the rule that we just learned. So this is me. This is, again, an M sound, me. And then this is ni, mimeni, from me. That's what it means in Hebrew, from me, mimeni. Notice again that you have a yud with no vowel underneath. So it is as if it's not there. Otherwise, if it was there, in other words, if it was sounded out, it would be mimeni, mimeni. And it's not that way. We say the word mimeni. Why do we have to have the yud there if it's not going to be sounded out? You know what my answer is, right? You need to speak to the creators of the language. I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that it's not sounded out. I would have told them, just don't put it in there. Right? It would have been easier. Next word. Here's another one. And this is a kaf. Ki. Because. That's what it means. Ki is because. Again, another instance in where if we remove the yud, or if we have it there, it's the same sound. Ki. And we're going to do one more word. Identifying the letters as I write them. And here again, we have the same rule. We have the חירק repeated twice, and we have the yud at the end of the word. And the yud at the end of the word has no vowel, and therefore it's as if it's not there. So the way that we pronounce this word is a madi, a madi, a madi. Okay, so remember those things. Recap on what we did today. Okay, we reviewed all the vowels. The vowels are kamatz and patach. We also had the holem. We saw an instance as the shuruk. We have the tzere and the segol. We learned 2 rules about the shiva, and we also learned the חירק. Okay, these are all of the vowels that we have learned up to this point. We have one more vowel to learn. Okay, and we're going to learn that in the next session or in the next lesson. Okay, well, there's a lot of material and it's pretty intense, so you may want to review this video again, and for sure write your vowels and write your rules down in your notebook. We also have another couple of rules that we're going to review in the next or the upcoming video, just to sum up, and then we're going to have some reading if you want to do more advanced, right? Because why get up to this point? You know all the letters, but you have to be able to read them properly. Okay, so fantastic work. Practice, practice, practice. Maybe review this video again, and I will see you on the next lesson. But before you go, I want you to like, subscribe. How do you spell that? And share this video with everyone that you meet. Thank you so much for watching. Shalom.